So Hermes is raising the prices of their products as a result of the tariffs, but can other brands afford to pass along these costs to their consumers? Well, joining me now is Banríon Capital Management CEO Shanna Sissel, and it's always great to see you. And I'm going to start with Nike because this is one of your picks. Do you think that Nike has the same luxury of passing along costs like an Hermes would? Because I'm pretty sure that these are different price points for these companies.
So I would agree. It probably doesn't have the same luxury, but neither do any of its competitors. So they're all kind of in the same boat. So if you're thinking about it from that perspective, I'm looking at Nike and I'm looking at it as where it stands with its peers and where the opportunity stands today.
Mhm.
All of his peers are facing that same issue. And no, it is going to be really hard to pass through these things to the tariffs. But
Yeah.
I think Nike has been positioned really well in that they kind of have been thinking about this and moving operations to areas that, like Vietnam, where there's less tariff that there is going to be applied to some of these things. And also, I think that, if there's anything we learned from the first time that Trump was in office, what gets threatened as the worst case scenario often gets negotiated to better terms. The only country I think that might not be the case with is China,
Sure.
but the rest of the world, I think there's uncertainty today. There's a lot of threats, but I don't think where we are today is where we land.
Okay, well, if you look at the 1 month chart of Nike, obviously they've had a rough road. They've been, investors have been punishing them because of the tariffs. We'll see if that turns around. So let's talk about tech because it's not impermeable to changes when it comes to consumer behavior. Apple may experience this in lack of iPhone upgrades. So let's talk about buying opportunities in tech because I know you like a company called Leidos Holdings and NVIDIA, which we've been talking a lot about NVIDIA. Back to Apple, though, one of the problems with them is it was reported they did a big shipment of millions of phones before the tariffs took effect. Does that pull forward hurt Apple? If they're stuck with these phones they can't sell?
In the short term, yes, but I'm a long-term investor, and I have to look at this as an investor that's been through a couple of these cycles, all being driven by different things, right? So the financial crisis, what drove that downturn is very different than what we're dealing with now. The tech bubble bursting, same things. As a long-term investor, I'm looking at these companies and saying, is this going to put them out of business? If not, is it trading at such a discount where in the long term, I'm going to get paid off for that? And in my career, it's been these opportunities for investors. This is where we make our money. We don't get distracted by, the shiny penny. And we focus on, in the long term, does this company win? And while, yes, there are some short-term dislocations Apple might face, that actually is an investor who likes Apple for the long run as an industry leader. It makes it more attractive, and that's where I'm going to make all of my money. And this is the kind of market we make all our returns.
And Leidos is a defense play, which I like. Shanna, thank you so much for being here. It's great to see you. Have a wonderful Easter.